are some things we have an answer to. For example, why am I single? It's because I'm annoying. But there are some things we don't have answers to, like what happened to all the Cabbage Patch parents? From a medieval porpoise to a surge in whale deaths, these are 5 mysterious discoveries that cannot be explained. Number 5. Medieval porpoise. The world of science is always tossing up brand new mysteries in need of deciphering. Sometimes it's merely something we don't understand right now, that we will in the future when our knowledge has grown and developed. Sometimes it's something we will never understand. Who knows which of those categories this find from 2017 will fit into once some time has passed. As of right now, we do not understand why porpoise bones were found in a grave that looks like it was dug for a human being. Philip de Jersey, the state archaeologist for the Guernsey Museum and Galleries, had this to say on the matter. "I've never seen anything that parallels it. And hey, that's a man who knows a lot about dead stuff. So if he's baffled, we've got ourselves a mystery." He continued and said, "In 35 years of digging, it's one of the strangest and most bizarre things I've ever come across. In the footage you can see a grave cut into the earth, and in said grave rests the centuries-old skull of a porpoise, with what appears to be shoulder bones flanking its sides. The skull has 2 roughly 1-inch holes in the top of its head, which de Jersey noted were likely drilled by hungry rats above 2 small navel cavities. It's definitely odd. 2 primary theories have emerged to explain this unusual find. The first is that the burial had intentional religious significance. We have no idea what the religious significance would have been, but who knows what religious practices have been lost to time. Maybe, once upon a time, everyone was burying porpoises with the care and love of an elderly loved one. The second theory for why porpoise bones were buried, seemingly intentionally, is that the monks were planning to eat it, or had already consumed parts of it. In the medieval era, porpoises were sometimes eaten as a delicacy. It's plausible that the porpoise was trapped in natural pools of water that collect at the island's edges during high tide. Monks would have been able to easily catch the porpoise after the tide waters receded. Of course, the problem with that theory is that it would have made more sense to just toss the dead thing into the ocean, which was only 10 feet away. Whatever the reason for this strange discovery, we seem to have stumbled on a rather odd practice from the past that we will never properly understand. Or who knows? Maybe our ancestors did it on purpose just to confuse future archaeologists. Quite a good idea for a long-form prank. Make strange burial requests in your will, like demanding you're buried with a toaster, in the hope that in the year 3003, a chrome-clad scientist will dig you up and be absolutely baffled. Time for the star topic. Here is an image that was recently sent in to us by one of our top viewers. From what we know, this kid was in the ocean front with his father and cousins when suddenly they came across a very strange rock or fossil-like rock. This strange rock or fossil is one of the many discoveries that simply can't be explained. We can see it's got some sort of greenish color in the inside, as well as some sort of weird symbol in it as well. But what could this really be? We would love to know your thoughts on it, as your opinions matter the most. As always, comment down below with the hashtag #StarTopic, and we'll pin the comment that best explains what's being shown in this image. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 4. Severed head of a giant 40,000-year-old wolf. In the summer of 2018, a Russian man was strolling along the shore of the local Turkatyak River in Yakutia when he came upon a grisly sight, the severed head of an ancient wolf. His jaw must have dropped harder than mine when I realized the writer of this script expected me to know how to pronounce Turkatyak. Madly, the head had been almost perfectly preserved by the permafrost and still sported a full head of hair and sharp fangs. A wolf head ice pop, if you will. The man, who I'm going to call Pavel Efimov because that's his hand, handed the ancient head over to scientists, who dated it to over 40,000 years ago, or the end of the Pleistocene epoch. For 40,000 years, that wolf head had remained perfectly preserved as it once was, the Captain America of wolf heads. Further analysis showed that the wolf was fully grown at the time of death and would have been somewhere between 2 and 4 years of age. But it's not just the perfect preservation that has people baffled, it's also the size of the thing. This is no meager wolf. This was a beast. Their analysis also revealed that the wolf was fully grown and was between 2 and 4 years old when it died. The severed head is about 16 inches, 40 centimeters long. That's about half the size of a modern wolf's entire body, which can range from 26 inches, 66 centimeters, to 34 inches, 86 centimeters long. These are the first remains to be found of a well-preserved, fully grown wolf from the Pleistocene, but people have previously found other remains of ancient wolves, such as a mummified wolf pup that lived over 50,000 years ago in Canada. Now, scientists from the Swedish Museum of Natural History will examine DNA from the newly discovered wolf head and compare the genetic information to that of modern wolves. Who knows what secrets of wolf kind they may unlock? For now, the wolf head is something of a mystery, but who knows? The severed head may just be the secret to solving other unanswered questions about the animal kingdom. Number 3. 70 gray whales dead in 6 months. A lot of things can happen in just 6 months. It's a whole half a year. Well, in the 6 months since January 2019, more than 70 gray whales have washed up dead on the coasts of California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, and Canada. And nobody knows why. Creepy, right? Is there something out there in the depths of the oceans that we don't know about that's strong enough to kill 70 whales and vicious enough to want to do so? Or is this a natural disaster we have on our hands here? 70 whale deaths are the most to occur in a single year since 2000, and we're only 6 months in. Scientists are obviously concerned. Recently, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, Fisheries designated these strandings as part of an unusual mortality event, UME. Under the U.S. Marine Mammal Protection Act, the designation of a UME means that more resources and scientific expertise will be dedicated to investigating what's causing so many whales to die. Seeing numerous gray whales, Escherichthys robustus, swimming along the west coast this time of year is expected, but normally they're not, really dead. From about March to June, these large marine mammals swim north from the coast of Baja near California and Mexico to the cool, food-rich waters of the Bering and Chukchi Seas north of Alaska. They'll start their return trip south in November. So far this year, 73 dead whales have been spotted on west coast beaches, 37 in California, 3 in Oregon, 25 in Washington, 3 in Alaska, and 5 in British Columbia, Canada. Most of them were skinny and malnourished, which suggests they probably didn't get enough to eat during their last feeding season in the Arctic, said Michael Milstein, an NOAA Fisheries Public Affairs officer. The condition of dead whales also suggests that there are many scientists aren't counting because emaciated whales tend to stink, said John Calambokidis, a research biologist with Cascadia Research Collective. So, the numbers that actually wash up do represent a fraction of the true number, he said. Some estimates suggest it's as few as 10%. These gentle giants were once severely threatened by whalers. There were only around 2,000 of them left in 1946, when an international agreement to stop gray whale hunting was initiated to help the population recover, according to the Marine Mammal Center, a non-profit organization that rescues and rehabilitates marine mammals in California. Gray whales were removed from the U.S. endangered species list in 1994, when the population was estimated to be about 20,000. A previous UME from 1999 to 2000 knocked out this population, called the Eastern North Pacific population, to about 16,000 individuals, but the whales have since recovered. In 2016, scientists estimated there were about 27,000. We know from past data that this population is capable of rebounding from a loss on the order of at least 6,000 perhaps, said David Weller, a research wildlife biologist with the NOAA Southwest Fisheries Science Center. But it's still unclear what's causing so many whales to die. So for now, the priority is to learn as much as possible from the stranded animals, Weller said. We've got our finger on the pulse, and I would say that we want to continue to monitor it closely. So, what do you think is killing the whales, and why? And should we be worried? Let us know what you think. Number 2. Daryl Miklos' USO. Our next unexplained mystery thing comes from the courtesy of treasure hunter and explorer Daryl Miklos. He made this rather unexplained and astonishing discovery deep beneath the Bermuda Triangle, and he believes that it could provide the first evidence of an extraterrestrial visit to Earth hundreds of years ago. Aliens, Bermuda Triangle, and treasure hunter all in one story? Sounds like a low-budget Nick Cage movie waiting to happen. Explorer Daryl Miklos has been using secret maps created by his close friend and famed NASA astronaut Gordon Cooper to find shipwrecks in the Caribbean. For those unfamiliar with Gordon Cooper, we actually explore a little of his history in our video, 5 terrifying things caught by astronauts, so make sure you check that one out. His amazing discoveries have featured over 2 seasons of hit Discovery Channel docuseries Cooper's Treasure, but in recent months his team stumbled upon something that he believes will shock the world. So brace yourself, world. You're about to be shocked maybe. Using maps put together in the 1960s by Cooper to identify more than 100 magnetic anomalies in the Caribbean, Miklos dived at an undisclosed location near the Bahamas to investigate what he thought would be an ancient shipwreck. Daryl Miklos and his team discovered the USO, which for all you fans of initials stands for Unidentified Submerged Object, in the Bermuda Triangle close to the Bahamas. He spotted the obtrusions while exploring the area in the submersible looking for shipwrecks. He is quoted as saying, "I was trying to identify shipwreck material based on one of the anomaly readings on Gordon's charts when I noticed something that stuck out that shocked me." As you can see for yourself, the USO is incredibly strange. Horizontal cylinder structures jut out from this large dome feature at the center of the site. Geophysicists on the team report that the coral covering these structures appears to be more than 5,000 years old. These structures have scientists baffled. Because of the extreme currents at this location, it's almost impossible for coral to grow at all, let alone onto anything this large. So if it's not coral, what is it? Miklos is pretty convinced that it's an alien spacecraft, but what do you think? Is he right? These horizontal structures are massive, each measured to as much as 300 feet straight out, the length of a US football field. The explorer also found other bizarre and unexplained formations around the main object, all of which are covered in a thick coral which he believes are hundreds if not thousands of years old. Number 1. The loaded machine gun. This one is unexplained in a different kind of way. See, earlier in 2019, a man found something rather unexpected in his back garden, a fully loaded machine gun. The mystery is, how exactly did it get there? Why was it fully loaded? Who did it belong to, and what were they originally planning to do with it? Between his garage and the fence, he found a plastic bag containing a pillowcase. When he looked inside, to his surprise, there was a fully loaded machine gun along with a cell phone. How the gun ended up in his backyard or who it belonged to is still not clear. What worries me is had the person who had owned the gun simply ditched it in the middle of attempting to do what they were about to do because they had a change of heart? Or was the gun owner's plan still in operation and had the garden owner accidentally ruined it? If it's the latter, I've got to kind of fear for the poor garden owner's life. You do not want to upset someone who is in possession of a fully loaded machine gun. That's like punching a hungry bear in the genitals. Do you have an answer to anything on this list? What do you think that USO might be? Also, check out our other cool stuff coming up on screen now. See you next time!